Good morning guys, welcome to my channel Medico's Study Point. So guys, in our previous video lecture, we have discussed about the anatomy of external ear. In that section, we have covered the pinna. Now in this video lecture, we will be discussing about the remaining part of external ear, that is external auditory canal and tympanic membrane. So guys, now we'll discuss about the anatomy of external auditory canal. So what's the function of external auditory canal? Its function is transmission of sound. So guys, please just focus on the picture as I have drawn here. The external auditory canal, the lateral part of the external auditory canal, that is 1/3 part, is made up of cartilage, that is cartilaginous part, and the medial 2/3 part, that is bony part, and 6 centimeter lateral from the tympanic membrane in the bony part of the external auditory canal, we are having the area, the narrowest area, that is known as isthmus. And in the cartilaginous part, that is lateral 1/3 part, we are having two deficiencies of cartilage, that is known as fissures of Centroni, and one deficiency in bony part, that is known as foramen of Huschke. So guys, this is exactly showing in this picture. Now we will be discussing about the relations of external auditory canal. External auditory canal is also known as external acoustic canal. So superiorly, it is having a relation with middle cranial fossa, that means above. Posteriorly or superiorly, after that superiorly, we will be discuss about inferiorly. So inferiorly, we are having the parotid gland, then anteriorly we are having the temporomandibular joint, and posteriorly we are having mastoid ear cells and facial nerve. So these are the relations of external acoustic canal. Now what are ceruminous glands? So ceruminous glands are modified apocrine sweat glands. They open into hair follicles and participate in wax production, and apocrine glands release their products by decapitation. So guys, now we will be discussing about that, where these ceruminous glands or sebaceous glands or hair glands are present in the auditory canal. So as we have seen that external auditory canal is divided into two parts, that is cartilaginous part and bony part. So first of all, we will be discussing about the cartilaginous part. Guys, first of all, the one thing, that the length of the external auditory canal is 24 millimeters. Now we have divided it into two parts, that is cartilaginous and bony part. So the length of cartilaginous part is 8 millimeter, that is 1/3 of the total, and the bony part length is 16 millimeter, that is 2/3 of the total. So now we will be discussing about the cartilaginous part. So cartilaginous part, it is lateral 1/3 part of the external auditory canal. Direction, its direction is, guys, upwards, backwards and medially. Then what is the lining epithelium? The lining epithelium of cartilaginous external auditory canal is same as of skin. So as we all know that in the skin we are having hair, we are having ceruminous glands, and we are having sweat and sebaceous glands. So all these are present in the cartilaginous part of the external auditory canal also. Furuncle of ear, it is localized to cartilaginous part. So guys, furuncle means folliculitis, that is inflammation of the hair follicle. So the hair follicles are present only in the cartilaginous part. That's why furuncle is only localized to cartilaginous part. Now we have seen the two deficiencies also in cartilaginous part, that are known as fissures of Centroni. So guys, what are they for, and what is the significance of these deficiencies? So guys, these deficiencies, as we have seen that anteriorly we are having the parotid, and then so the infection can go from external auditory canal to parotid, and from parotid to external auditory canal, and same from base of skull, that is roof and floor of external auditory canal, the base of skull. Now we will see the bony part. So bony part, it is medial 2/3, that is 16 mm of length. Narrowest part is isthmus, as we have seen, that 6 millimeter lateral to the tympanic membrane. Direction downwards and forwards and medially. Lining epithelium, guys, just focus. Lining epithelium is not same as skin. It is stratified squamous epithelium without skin appendages. That means There is no chance of any furuncle present here. If foreign body lodges in isthmus, surgical instruments are required for removal. Now we are having a deficiency, that is foramen of Erskine. It can also lead to infection in both parotid and base of skull. Usually it closes by 5 to 6 years of age, so it's of no so much of importance. Guys, now to see the tympanic membrane. So from external auditory canal we reaches to tympanic membrane. In which direction we have to pull the pinna? So to see the tympanic membrane we have to pull the pinna upwards, backwards and laterally, so that the external auditory canal can be bring in the straight line position. So here we finish the external auditory canal, anatomy of external auditory canal. Now we will be discussing about the anatomy of tympanic membrane. So guys, what is tympanic membrane known? It is also known as window of middle ear. Now please focus on this picture as I have drawn here. So the tympanic membrane, so guys, are you seeing this umbo where the umbo is written? So it is basically, tympanic membrane is not a flat membrane, it is a tented membrane. And umbo here is what? Umbo, it is the tilted towards basically center of pars tensa, so by the tip of handle of malleus, whereas attaches and forms umbo. So basically umbo, it is the center part of this tympanic membrane, and the handle of malleus is attached to it. That's why it is like tented, and that is known as umbo. Now we are having the shadow of incus, we are having the shadow of round window, annulus tympanus, cone of light, and this pars flaccida is above. So guys, tympanic membrane is divided into two parts again, that is pars tensa and pars flaccida. Pars tensa means it's very tense, pars flaccida it's loose, and pars flaccida, as you are seeing it in, as you are seeing the pars flaccida is this part. It is 1/3, and pars tensa below it is 2/3. And lateral process of malleus is also present there, and cone of light is present. As you can see, this is the cone of light. So now we'll see one by one. Now it is derived from all the three germ layers, that is mesoderm, endoderm, ectoderm. Normal color is pearly gray and pearly white. It makes an angle of 55 degree with the horizontal. Guys, it has been asked in exams also that at what angle it makes with the horizontal. So it is 55 degree. Now borders, anterior tilted towards middle ear, more medially, as we all know that the tympanic membrane is middle ear, it is medially, and posterior tilted towards external auditory canal, that is more accessible. So jo anterior border hai, it is more medial, and posterior border it is more accessible. That means we can reach to the posterior border. Now it is divided into upper 1/3 pars flaccida. Pars flaccida is also known as Sharpnell's membrane, and lower 2/3 part is known as pars tensa. I have shown you that in the picture also. Now the most common site of retraction pocket is pars flaccida. Guys, retraction pockets means where it can dips down. So pars flaccida is a loose, so it is the most common site of retraction pocket. Center of pars tensa, it is tented by a tip of handle of malleus where it attaches and it forms umbo. Tympanic membrane is 0.1 mm thickness. So guys, the thickness of tympanic membrane is 0.1 mm. Now the distance between the promontory and tympanic membrane is 2 mm, or the transverse diameter of the middle ear at the level of mesotympanum is 2 mm. Now what is the cone of light? The cone of light, it emerges from umbo due to obliquity of tympanic membrane. As I have told you, tympanic membrane is oblique, and reflection of handle of malleus. Now most mobile part, that is paramedian part. Paramedian part means periphery part is more mobile than central part. Cone of light is present in antero-inferior quadrant. So guys, it is also asked in so many exams that where cone of light is present. So it is present in antero-inferior quadrant. So now we will be discussing about the identification of ear from tympanic membrane. So by observing cone of light and upper tilt of tympanic membrane, we can identify whether it is the tympanic membrane of right ear or left ear. So now as we are seeing in this figure, the upper tilt is towards the right side and the cone of light is also towards the right side. So this is the tympanic membrane of right ear. Now in the left ear, like this only, if we are having this upper tilt towards the left ear and cone of light towards the left ear, then that tympanic membrane will be of the left ear. Now if we are having the perforated tympanic membrane, then we will see the upper tilt again, because the cone of light is unable to see. So we will see the upper tilt, and if upper tilt is towards the right, then the tympanic membrane is of the right ear. So guys, the total surface area of tympanic membrane is 90 millimeter square and the effective vibrating surface area is 55 millimeter square. So this we have finished everything about the anatomy of external ear. Pinna in previous video we have discussed there, and in this video lecture we have discussed about the external auditory canal and the tympanic membrane. So guys, if you want to see the video lecture of the pinna, I will be giving the link in my description box. You can go there and check it out. And in this video lecture we have completed the anatomy of external ear. So thank you guys, thank you for watching my video. और अगर आप मेरे चैनल पर नए हो तो प्लीज़ चैनल को लाइक करें, सब्सक्राइब करें और चैनल को शेयर करें. थैंक यू गाइस, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग.